firstly, when Cora came to me, when we had a meeting in Coles Car Park, which is where Cora meets most of the people that she speaks to, she explained about the Community Spirit exhibition and how artists were choosing a community group to represent by creating a piece of artwork. And I thought for about 3 seconds and then just said CFA. And both Cora and I had a bit of a moment together, knowing each other's fire history, I guess. And so I set to work contacting Tony. Tony and I had a little bit to do with each other when I donated a piece of artwork for the CFA to auction off to raise some money for them. So I had a little contact. I didn't know much more than that, but so I contacted Tony, and he was incredibly helpful the whole way along, and he's still being incredibly helpful for my own personal arts practice, I guess, now. But basically, when I came to thinking about what I wanted my piece of artwork to say, because I guess the way that I work, my arts process is always driven about a meaning and trying to communicate a meaning to the viewer. So the first thing I thought was that I really wanted to say thank you to the CFA for being here. So I had a fire hose. I'd spoken to Tony. Tony had dropped in a fire hose and a couple of other things for me. And I thought, well, I could just put the fire hose in the shape of the word thanks. Then I started thinking a bit more about it, and I thought, well, this is a bit more about me communicating to the community what the CFA does for us. It's not just a personal gesture from me to them. It was going to be in a community space, and hopefully lots of people would see it, and that would communicate the importance of the CFA. So after a lot of thinking and planning, I decided decided on the word safe, because I think that's how we feel because the CFA is there, and I think if the CFA wasn't there, we'd feel a lot less safe. So putting together the word was kind of the easy part, I guess. Thinking about what I wanted to communicate was a little bit more difficult. I use a lot of gold leaf in most of my artworks, or some of my artworks, and it's usually to convey that something has a preciousness about it, or that we could look at something in a different light, that yes, this is just an old fire hose. Who knows how many lives it saved, who knows how many other things it saved along the way before it got to a point where it had been decommissioned and not used anymore. So realistically, the fire hose, I think, is really precious. But the other thing, there's two other things that a fire hose needs to fight a fire, and they are water, which is incredibly precious and becoming more and more precious every day, and somebody to operate the hose. And so by gold leafing the inside of the hose, yeah, I've got gold leaf throughout everything. But by gold leafing what appears to be the inside of the hose and showing that is to symbolise the importance of water. And I tend to think that people involved in the CFA must have a little bit of gold running through their veins to be able to do what they do. Sometimes thanklessly, and certainly taken for granted. And I think being safe in a community that's surrounded by bush is definitely something that we take for granted, and I know that I won't from now on. And so, I guess I have Cora to thank for the idea of being able to team up with a community group to produce an artwork that has made me understand what this particular community group does. and how it makes me feel within the community. And I think the rest of the community, what I'm saying to the rest of the community is that this is what the CFA does. They keep us safe. And so I'd really like to thank Tony for helping me, providing me with all the wacky ideas and requests that I've brought up, and he said, can you get me this? Can you get me that? And he's always been incredibly generous and helpful, and you know, on my doorstep with